Hey, guess what, guys? I got this great kit in the post from eBay. And I don't know, I ordered it 35, 40 years ago, and it's only just arrived. It's a Heathkit vacuum tube voltmeter. No, seriously, guys. We've got the Heathkit, and where we left it before was it wasn't working, and I stripped it down. I tried to do another video, and the sound quality came out awful. It was absolutely abysmal. Nothing was going right. I had problems with the cameras. I had problems with the sound. And generally, it was not a very good session. So that video is... I've still got the footage, but trust me, it's not going to see the light of day. It's awful. It really is. So anyway, what have we done? Well, I've been hunting around the internet, and I have found a full, unadulterated build manual. Now, originally, the one I had some of the pages missing, and they were already ticked, and that seems to be the common one on the internet. But I managed to find a not written on one. Unadulterated is what I'm trying to say, but I couldn't say it at the time. What do you know? Anyway, so what I've done with the Heathkit is where we cleaned up the board, that's repaired. I've reflowed every joint. I've taken the pots out, resoldered them. What else did I do? Yeah, I literally remade every... I keep saying this literally rubbish. It sounds like I'm a teenager. I've basically put everything as it was originally, the way it was designed, I suppose, the way it was. This is a bit of paper I'm just fishing out where I cleaned the PCB off with a bit of kitchen paper to get rid of the flux. And as you see, there's I don't think there's much left. If there's any, no, there's a little bit there. So I've remade all the joints, and I took the big grey cable out of its sheathing because I didn't quite think that what they'd done was correct. And in having a glance through this new manual, it shows blatantly that the old way was wrong. The way this had been done was, you know, thrown together and bodged, and it really wasn't the right way per the manual to do it. So what I did, I actually took the outer off the 8-way cable, and I split it into two, and I put two different bits of heat shrink on there just to keep the wires off the tubes and to just give them a bit of space to breathe and to make them easier to manage. Again, because I had glanced through the manual, it says that they all come over to the left-hand side of the board looking from the top of the board. So that's what I've done with them. I've put them on that side of the board. I also replaced the rigid wire with this slightly softer wire here, and also the Z-point wire, which is excessively long, but I know I'm going to be cutting it down. These were not dressed according to the manual either. These are meant to be different lengths and all of that, but I haven't actually gone that far with it because I just wanted to sort of get that tidy and usable. I've actually cleaned off every bit of interconnect wire off the range selector, or the range switch, the selector switch, and the two pots. And one of the things I found, and it was on the selector switch, where the original hookup wire, which is this grey solid core, fairly reasonably thick. I'd hate to say, what is it, 20, 18 gauge wire, something like that. It could be 18, it could be, yeah, it might be 20, 22. Either way, it's incredibly thick and incredibly rigid. and because of some of the solder angles, it was bent in funny shapes. Now, at some point, one of these had come loose, and somebody had twisted too hard and actually pulled one of the switch lugs over on itself. Now, I'm just going to point out which one it was. It's this one here that I've now got bent upwards. Normally they sit in these little notches, which you can probably just about see. What I'm going to do is I'll look through this, and I did go through this manual, and I'm just going to nip through the pages that teach you how to solder and where are we? How to assemble the range switch, which is a useful diagram because I actually checked this against that, and we're just going to be working on this and putting it together as the good old-fashioned diagrammy thingy. And here we have a very pretty picture. I'm just going to move that slightly more into shot so that you can see. We're actually up at the panel wiring stage, and where we start to actually wire each of these sections up to how they said build it in the manual. It also says to help you right on the back. So here we go. Let's write 0 or O for ohms. And if we mark them as per the thing, that's 3, 2, and 1. Just using an ordinary HB pencil, nothing special here. We don't use special tools if we can avoid it. And this is the Z, the Zulu. So this is 0 adjust. And again, if we're looking at the pot and we imagine it's turned around the way it goes, there we have, so it's backwards, so that would be number 1 because that's the leading one. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So we just put that on there in pencil. It's not going to kill it. And it means we're doing what the instructions tell us. Switches can be moved slightly as required to align knob markers with panel index markers. So you just get it to line up. Then tighten up your nuts, it says. Firmly retighten your nuts. No, oh sorry, retighten control nuts. Labouring a joke there, weren't I? It says here, first thing to do, connect a wire, let's do the first step. Install a 0.01 microfarad, where did I put the microfarad capacitor, the 0.01, here. 1600 volt condenser between R6, solder it, and S12, solder it, use sleeving. Okay, so first of all, we've got to work out this is S, which is S12. So here is the diagram detailing the S switch, the selector switch. You know, I could write it on the back here as well, couldn't I? S, because that's like, you know, oh, that's being a rebel, isn't it? So this is going from R6, so the range selector, position switch 6, solder it, and S12. And S12, if you look on this, it's on the front deck, which is the one closest to the floor. It's near one of these shafts. And if we look at the positioning on the previous pictorial, it shows the shafts here. S12 is this one sticking out. I'm just going to turn it around. This one's sticking here. So it goes from here and it's going to range switch. Where did we say it had to come from? Range switch 6. So 6 is, here is the spindle. So here, from this side of the resistor to there. right, there's the capacitor, and I've doubled over heat shrink here just because you can still just about see the coils through there. It's soldered very rigidly, and I've bent it to shape so that it fits in underneath that part of the assembly. And we'll also just need to get the tweezers, or the pliers, and just put that wire through that section on there, and then I'm going to bring this completely away from there before soldering it in. And that should then hold that straight, not put any stress on the switch contact, and keep the capacitor out of the way of any moving parts, basically, so that it just keeps it neat and tidy and safe, which is the main part of it. So let me just solder that in there. Now, as the other guy, I can see now why there were no J hooks on the components, because some of these you would not get in or out of the board had you J hooked them. So that should be done there, and I'm going to turn the work round. Let's come to this side and just solder that in. And as with all soldering, you heat the connectors and feed the solder. You don't carry solder to the joint. It's always heat the connector, feed the solder, take the heat away, which to a lot of people is second nature, but some people are just have not been taught how to do the job. I'm just taking those loose ends off the top, and the reason I'm cutting them so flush is because, like they say, this is a high voltage AC test point. You get a nice sharp spike that's close to anything else, and you could get the arc over. All I've done there is I've reduced or increased the distance between this metal shaft and the actual contact, so there's less chance of flashover in air. This one obviously isn't so much of a risk, but yeah, anywhere you can reduce the risk of flashover is a good thing. So I can get my pencil now and I can tick that one. Connect a wire from O3 to S16. So S16, second deck, it's here. You've got the stud, S27, S15, S16. So it's this one here. And then round there we've got S18 right next to the shaft. Yep, so just confirming it is this one here. And that's got to go to O3. Better. O3. And again, I'm just going to take that end off. O2 to Z1, so 2 to 1. It says not to solder one end, which it says not to solder the Z end. So let's open that up, put that in, twist that down, fit that across there like that. But it says to solder the O end. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to carry on with making this kit, and to be quite honest, once you've got a decent set of instructions, the whole thing becomes simplicity. It's as simple as putting one of these little Chinese flip-flop kits together. You know, it's simple. So rather than make any mistakes, I'm going to do this kit off camera. You don't want to sit here and watch me soldering. You've seen me do a couple of wires. If you wanted to watch it live, then I hope you got about 3-4 hours just to, it probably won't take that long, but you know, yada yada yada, I want to concentrate and not talk, and you'd be listening to a lot of nothing. Be back once we've done the soldering bits. See you soon.